Yo, it's your boy Divine Sense Boxing back in the building. It's fight time once again. Back to bite, back to back fights, man, lined up, coming in hot for the past 2 months or so. We have been blessed as boxing fans. We must admit that. We must be happy about that. And the fights just keep coming in. And we got another hot one coming up. I guess in the States for you guys, it's tonight. You guys are waking up this morning and you're planning to watch the fight tonight. For me, it is tomorrow morning. So, you know what time it is. I do this for pretty much every big fight if I can, which is come on here and give you guys my live reaction to the final weigh-in to see how the fighters look, give you guys my opinion. I haven't seen the weigh-in yet, so it's always a live reaction, always authentic, and that's how we do it. And this morning's live is going to be a little bit special because not only am I going to give you my live reaction to the weigh-in, I'm actually going to give you guys my prediction of this fight. I'm going to break it down for you guys and let you guys know how I think it's going to go down. Stephen L. the Mac, first one of the building. Salute to you. Ratchet since 91. It's good to see you. And long time no see, my man Freddie Ruger, man. Hope you're good out there. So look, I'm going to get right into it. Normally, I kind of, kick back and let people filter in slowly. But I'm going to start getting into it relatively quickly here. I know you guys got a lot of things going on your Saturday morning, getting adjusted, ready to attack Saturday, get ready for the day. So I'm going to get right into it. And of course, for the people that come in later as well, a lot of people are going to watch this live later on today. So I'm going to jump into it and, of course, start it off with my reaction to the weigh-in. Trick Boxing in the building. What's popping, man? Yeah, man, all good. All right, so pull up on the screen of the weigh-in. I'm assuming that most of you guys haven't seen it, have seen it already. There may be a few of you who will be seeing it for the first time as well, which is cool, man. You'll be joining me in that because I haven't seen the weigh-in yet. Let's see here. All right, cool. Bring it up on the screen. All right. Perfect. All right. And shout out to Fight Hub for always letting me use their content from my reaction videos. Appreciate you guys immensely. You're one of the few channels out here who do not try to strike my shit. So I appreciate you. All right. So, like I said, I haven't seen the weigh-in yet. I have seen some posts on Instagram from what I've heard just browsing through that both fighters did make weight. So I do know that. As far as what their body looks like, and the hype, I heard there was some interesting things happening as far as some supposed stare downs or some other stuff. Now, I did watch the final press conference. That was interesting. That was interesting. I mean, Jermall was coming out with some fire. You know, he was coming after Brian Castano, talking about, it's America. What did he say? He said something like, America's got the biggest military in the world, the biggest bombs, the biggest and best defense mechanisms. I'm gonna drop bombs on you. I was like, damn, okay, he's coming out with some poetic shit. I appreciate that, man. I like good build-ups and fights. Sometimes when fighters are humble and they're shaking hands and they're tickling each other like Tyson Fury and Whites, man, I ain't trying to see none of that shit, man. I want to see. It doesn't have to be bad blood, but I want to see competitiveness. You know what I mean? I want to see two dudes like talk a little bit of shit. Like I'm the best. Like you can't beat me. And from what I gathered, Brian Castano was more of the reserved of the two, and Castano, of course, shouting USA, USA, trying to back the whole idea that, hey, I'm from the States, you coming into my backyard. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna let you come in here and try to take my straps. Like, this is my home ground. Mangus Allen in the building was good. So I'm liking what I see so far. This is a rematch that like had to happen. And well, quite frankly, not only for boxing fans, because the fight ended in a draw. When you have two fighters going up for undisputed and it ends in a draw, it's almost automatic that you got to have a rematch. But both of these guys need to settle the score. And quite frankly, they need to do it convincingly this time. We don't got no time for any draws or split decisions or anything like that. If you're Castano, you got to come in and do better in areas, right? You may have won the fight in a lot of people's eyes, but you didn't dominate the fight. You didn't make it convincing enough. And if you're Charlo, it's kind of same thing. Charlo, if you guys remember, came on late in that first fight, right? And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. I don't want to get into my breakdown yet. I want to get into the press conference reaction first. And then I will give you guys a little bit of a breakdown and give you guys my final prediction. Raw Dog, the Prophet in the building, bro. What's good? All right, so let's get to it.
The evening, the historic featured bout for the undisputed 154-pound championship over the world, brought to you by TGB Promotions, along with Lions Only Promotions and Showtime. At this time, we invite our fighters to
Yeah,
the
definitely
stage.
excited for
First,
this one, man.
from Buenos
Definitely
Aires,
excited for this one.
Argentina. He's a two-time
If you
world
guys are just
champion,
joining,
the
I haven't seen this
undefeated
yet, so this
and
will be my live
defending
reaction.
WBO
I haven't seen any of this
154-pound
yet.
champion of the world, Brian.
Introduce Brian Castano first. He's got that light blue, that baby blue and white Argentinian colors. They got the same crowd there that he had at the final press conference, out there shouting, Argentina, Argentina. So,
And now, ladies and gentlemen, his
and
opponent
he
in
was
this
trying to say
champion
like,
versus
oh, I
champion
ain't trying to make it
showdown
about
from
Argentina and
Houston,
America, but
Texas,
I mean,
one of
let's be real.
boxing's
That's what it is.
remarkable
That's
world
what it always
champion
is, man.
twins. Here is the
Anytime
unified
American
WBA,
fights a dude from the
WBC,
UK,
and
I mean, it's
IBF
just part of it, man.
154-pound
Represent where you're
champion of the
from.
world, Jermall.
All right, here comes
Iron
Jermell. Got the
Man
American flag draped around him, both him and his
Charlo.
brother. Haven't seen that in a while from American fighters. Let me pause that on that thought right quick, right? All politics aside, and I got a lot of opinions when it comes to that stuff, but you haven't seen that from any American fighter doing that at this level in quite a long time, right? It used to be something that happened, you know, fairly often. Fighters would come in with like American, either trunks or robes or bringing the flag, and especially in the 80s and 90s. And we haven't really seen it, or I haven't at least, in quite a while. So this is something that is a little bit new. K-Rod, what's good, bro?
All right, fans, here we go. Our fighters are ready to step onto the scale for the undisputed 154-pound championship of the world.
The Argentinas are getting lit, bro. They're getting so lit.
First to the scale with a record of 17 wins, no losses.
It reminds me a little bit of Mayweather versus Maidana.
In 2 draws. He has 12 wins coming by way of knockout in his 5th world title appearance. Here is the undefeated WBO 154-pound champion of the world, Brian El Boxy Castano. 153 and 3/4 pounds.
153 and 3/4 pounds. Yeah, it's kind of, I expected that. His body looks pretty much the way it did the first fight. I don't really see much difference. You know, he's kind of got that body type, right? He's kind of got a mixture of like, he kind of got a mixture of like an athletic body mixed in with a dad bod. Right? He's not like ripped, but he's just got that built. He's kind of built like I don't know, man. How can I don't know how to describe it, like a square body. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't have like fine definition and whatnot, and it's not all cut up, which doesn't necessarily, I mean, looks can be deceiving sometimes in boxing, as we all know, right? But nonetheless, I don't know, man. He looks a tad bit dry. Looks a tad bit dry. And I would imagine, I haven't seen Charlo step on the scale yet, so I don't know if he's going to come in the same or lighter. But looking at his body, a little bit dry. I think that he's going to come in and hydrate and be bigger than Jermall on fight night. I just have that feeling based off of what I see here. But more or less, his body's always kind of looked like this for most of the fights that I've seen him be in. So it's nothing too shocking, but if I did have to put a finger on something, he does look a little bit dry, and I plan to see him rehydrate quite a bit.
153 and 3/4 pounds, 153 and 3/4 pounds for Brian Castano. And now his opponent with a record of 34 wins, 1 loss and 1 draw, with 18 wins coming by way of knockout. He will be in his 9th world title appearance. Here is the defending WBA, WBC, and IBF 154-pound champion of the world, Jermall.
What's up, big dog? All right, let's see what Jermall comes in at. If he comes in lighter or heavier, or the same.
Iron Man Charlo.
But right off the bat, before he steps on the scale, body looks much different, right? What more lean, more athletic looking type body, more definition, looks cut up, ripped up. So let's see what the weight is.
$152 and 3/4 pounds.
152 and 3/4. So literally 1 pound less. I think that's exactly 1 pound lighter. So that's interesting. That's very
152 and 3/4 pounds for Jermall Charlo.
But Jermall looks fresh though. Like his muscles still look hydrated. It looks like he's still got a decent amount of water weight in his muscles. He doesn't look as dry, and the fact that he comes in lighter means that I feel like he's comfortable. I think he's very comfortable. And let's not forget, man, Mayweather used to come in lighter in pretty much every fight than his opponent, like especially the later stages of his career, probably the last, I don't know, man, like 8 or 9 fights. He would come in a couple of pounds and even at times 3 pounds less, right? And usually that indicates that they're comfortable, right? When you're barely making weight, right? You're like a half a pound under or 3/4 or whatever it is. You're looking a little bit dry. You're not as cut up. Then that could be. That doesn't necessarily mean a guarantee, but it could be that you struggled a little bit, and that would explain why you look a little bit dry. But it looks like to me that Jermall looks very comfortable, and I would expect fight night Castano to be heavier. If I had to guess, I'd probably have Castano at about 162, 163 on fight night, and Charlo will probably be around 159, around that. That would be my guess. All right, let's see this face off. This is what it's all about right here, man. This is the real tale of the tape right here. Forget all the measurements and all that. This is what tells it all right here. Yeah. Look at my man Jermall. We got laser focus. He chomping on some bazooka gum, man. It's like he wants Brian to say something. Too bad Brian don't speak no damn English for what I know. I haven't heard him speak no English.
And there they are, ladies and gentlemen, champion versus champion in this rematch.
I don't know, guys.
The undisputed 150.
But
Jermall
looks ready.
Charlo versus Brian.
This is the first time I'm seeing this.
Castano.
And Jermall looks ready to me. See, now we get the Argentinian flag. See, I told you this is what it's about. Brian was trying to say it's not. This is exactly what it's about. And America and Argentina has a long history of fighting each other, man. A long history. Right? Goes way back to like Jack Dempsey days. Like even before we think of like Henry Armstrong. I mean, even before that, right? Long history with Americans fighting Argentinians, man. So this is just another one for the record books right here. But to me, Jermall looks ready. Looks confident. Looks comfortable. Brian looks a little bit like he's got a big crowd there chanting and cheering. I don't know, man. I feel like he's a little bit. I don't like to use the word scared at this level, but a little bit more concerned, right? He's got more things going on in his head, right? And now I'm sure the people that are going for Castano in this fight will say, well, Jermall might look nervous because he's clenching his jaw, he's chewing real hard, he's doing this or whatever. But look, man, it's all how you view it, man. The psyche, the psychological warfare type shit. But if you were to ask me, it looks like Jermall is focused. He looks comfortable. The weigh-in looked comfortable. His body looks good. Looks like he's ready to go. He looks like he's had a good camp. He feels like he's done all the work that he needs to do. And Brian, Brian he's the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's doing anything different than he's done in the past. In the first fight, this is the same look that he had. Right? So this is why this fight is interesting. Because Brian seems humble, right? He doesn't talk a lot of smack. He's respectful for the most part. He's playing his part, his role. He's a champion, and he's there to fight, right? But come fight night, Brian's ready. You know what I'm saying? Brian is ready, and he proved that the last fight. Because going into the first fight, a lot of people were saying that this is a somewhat easy fight for Charlo. I heard a lot of people saying that. A lot of people were saying that, and guess what? When the fight was done, then people were saying, "Oh, damn! Like, I think Charlo lost. I think Brian won." Right? So, for me, I don't remember. Was I on YouTube yet when this fight? I think I may have just joined. I think I just created this channel right around the time this fight ended. But I felt like with everything on the line, the draw made sense business wise. But I did feel like if I don't remember what I had the scorecards, I don't even know if I scored it. But based off of the eye test, watching the fight without scoring it, I probably would have thought that Castano was going to edge him out slightly, like by a round. But the draw made sense because it was a close fight. Neither fighter, in my opinion, and I've now rewatched it 2 or 3 times, which now I'm going to lead into my breakdown and prediction, okay? Right at this moment. I see my man Platt Boys in the building dropping that super chat, bro. Let's go fight party tonight. Yes, sir. I'll be on here, man. You know me, man. I'll be here. I'm gonna be commentating on this shit for sure. But let me do that. Let me go ahead and break it down and give you guys my prediction. I don't plan to be on here too long, and then I'm gonna roll up out of here and have this video up for the people that come in later. Look, I've rewatched the first fight a few times now. I think when I watched it live, it was a crazy fight, man. It was back and forth. Some of the rounds were a bit tough, were very tough, not a bit tough, but very tough to judge or score. And I didn't score it live when I watched it live. I was just basically just watching it as a fan. But it's always in the back of my head, even if I don't score a fight physically with the pen and paper, I'm always kind of wondering in the back of my head, like most fight fans, right? Like, oh, I wonder who won that round, right? And to me, it was a 50-50 fight. Like there was no uh, clear advantage for any other fighter. Castano put a lot of rounds in the bag early and even some of them in the middle rounds. But here's my thing. I want everyone to understand this, and this will lead into my prediction ultimately. Um, Charlo came on strong at the end, right? He arguably won probably, at least 10 or at least 11 and 12, in my opinion, possibly even 10. And I don't remember every single round piece by piece, but Charlo, I remember coming on strong, started landing some punches, and even buzzed Castano a few times, right? Where Castano was backing up a little bit. He had to hold on a few times, and there was that moment, right? So you can make the argument that going into this fight, that Charlo has the momentum, right? It's like playoff basketball. If you win game 2, and now I'm not talking about a blowout. I'm talking about a rough and tumble type game, went to the wire, and then you edged it out. You have that kind of momentum going into the next game, right? Now, it doesn't always play out that way, as we see in the playoffs this year. It's crazy. Some teams where, you know what I mean? It's like back and forth, win game 1, then lose game 2, win game 3, lose game 4. It's crazy, right? But if you were to make the argument who has the momentum, I think it's Charlo, right? Because he ended the last fight strongly. He feels that he hurt him, he buzzed him. He feels like he can hurt him again, and maybe he feels like he can do it earlier this time. Now, let me get into my style breakdowns just real quickly and just kind of graze over it, and I'll leave you guys my final prediction. Look, man, this is a stylistic matchup that is intriguing, right? If you were to uh, do it the classic way and say, 10 points being, or you can just give a check, right? You can say, all right, who's got the better hand speed? Who's got the better hand speed? Charlo, check. Who's got the combinations, right? And then you can check it off, right? The classic way of who has the advantage, and check off and do that checklist, right? And I think if you do the checklist and you really do your research and you really think about it and you take it seriously, Charlo should win that checklist. right? Of all the attributes of a boxer, ring IQ, ring generalship, defense, ability to throw combinations, hand speed, power, killer instinct, all these different attributes that boxers have. You go down the list, who's going to win that list? Now, of course, Brian is going to he's going to get some on that checklist too, right? But we have to understand main boxing bike was good, bro. Spirit was good, man. Oh yeah, bro. Spirit, man. Argentina and America, bro. They've been going at it for damn near 100 years, bro. Especially in boxing. Especially in boxing, bro. Long time, long time history of America and Argentina bloodbaths, bro. Crazy shit. Um, so look, let me get back to the topic. When you look at the styles, right? You have to think, and you look at the first fight, and you compare it to the second fight on the potential of certain things happening. One thing we know that if you lean towards Castano to win the fight, or if you thought it was a 50-50 fight, you have to give credit to Castano that he put the work in, right? He outworked Charlo in many different spots in that fight, right? Now, how effective was the work? Well, it was effective enough to where Charlo couldn't let his hands go as much as he likes to, right? When you've seen Jermall or Jermall for that matter, when they get comfortable, they just unleash. All right, they start throwing combinations. They try to hurt you. They try to finish you. They get, you know what I'm saying? Their hand speed increases. Their I had the word in my mind and just slipped out of my mind, man. But they increase their abilities by a couple of notches when they get comfortable. But Castano made Jermell uncomfortable in that first fight. And it became a situation where Jermell started to just try to counter, and it was difficult for him to set his feet and get the combinations off because Castano just kept working and working and working and chipping away and chipping to the body, trying to go to the head, staying up in his chest, and just trying to make it a difficult fight. And he did, right? This is why we have the second fight. But Castano was never able to hurt Charlo, in my opinion. I think that, yes, there were a few times where Charlo had to put his hands up, cover up, protect, maybe tie up a few times, but I don't think he was ever seriously hurt. And I think there is a psychological effect, an advantage going into this rematch. That if you were to compare who was able to hurt who, it was Charlo able to hurt him, and it was in the later rounds. Now, you can argue that Castano put in way more. Yeah, he did outwork Charlo, which is why we are having this discussion in a rematch. But that massive amount of work did take its toll in that 11th and 12th rounds, where Charlo had a little bit more left in the tank, and he stunned Castano a few times. Terry Smoot Jr. in the building was good, bro. Good to see you in here. So we have to consider the psychological edge. And in my opinion, Jermall has better footwork. He has the better boxing ability overall. He's got the hand speed. He proved that he was durable. He proved that he had a chin. Castano really couldn't hurt him, in my opinion. He kept him on his toes. He kept him cautious. He kept him respectful. But I don't really think there was an instance in the fight in the first one where Jermall felt like, damn, like if he hits me with another one of those, he's gonna knock me out. Or where he was visibly like hurt, like his knees buckled, or he fell into the ropes, or he's reaching out to grab on because he's hurt. We didn't see that, right? He covered up and did certain things, but I think that he proved that he did have a chin and he has durability. So, in my opinion, if you were to make a prediction and or put money on this fight, if you want to go for the underdog, which I would believe would be Castano, right? I don't know what the odds are, but if you were to put the odds on, if you were to put your money down on Castano, then in my opinion, you are putting your money down and saying that Castano is going to work outwork him again, but better than what he did the first fight. He's going to fine tune some of his mistakes. He's not going to burn out as much energy. He's going to have energy going into those championship rounds. He's going to be able to finish what he started, and he's going to outwork Charlo even better this time. If I was a betting man and I were to put money on this fight and I wanted to put it on Castano, I would say Castano by a 12-round decision, right? I just don't see Castano knocking out Charlo. And that's not because Charlo is a Superman and he can't be knocked out. Anybody can be knocked out. It's not that the thing is this, he shows durability and a chin, and also Castano is not the biggest puncher in the division, in my opinion. He can outwork you. He can beat you up a little bit if you let him, right? But it's not like he's one of the biggest punchers and he has devastating punching power. He can hurt you or knock you out with one punch because he didn't get close to doing that in the first fight. So if you're putting money down on Castano, you're saying he's going to win by decision by outworking him better than he did the first fight. Now, if you're going for Charlo and you're going to put money on it, I would say Charlo by either late stoppage or decision as well. And if it's decision, it's because it's literally the same thing as Castano. He outworks him, outshines him, outpoints him, outlands him clean, like landing cleaner shots than he did in the first fight. See, the problem with Charlo in the first fight was he lost too many rounds in the beginning part of the fight, lost too many swing rounds in the middle part of the fight, and then he tried to turn it up in 9, 10, 11, and 12. Right? So basically, he's got to do what he did 9, 10, 11, 12 for 12 rounds because Castano's not going to let his foot off the gas. He's not the type of fighter that's going to just throw away rounds so he can recover. His job is to jab, get on the inside, and work. His resting is when he's in your chest, throwing body shots, right? A guy like Castano doesn't have to expend too much energy when he's in your chest, just ripping to the body, right? The way you make Castano burn energy, like Charlo made him do in 9, 10, 11, 12 of the first fight, is force him to reach, force him to move, outmaneuver him, counter him, hit him flush, catch him with the shot that he doesn't see, right? Don't allow him to get comfortable on the inside, right? How you make fighters uncomfortable is taking them out of their comfort zone. That's how you make fighters tired, right? If you want to make a boxer mover, a guy who likes to jab and move and stick and move, how you want to make him tired? Don't let him move. Stay in his chest, cut the ring off, bully him, throw him up against the ropes, rip to the body, right? If you want to tire out a brawler, a puncher, a volume puncher, then you got to do the exact opposite. You got to stick, you got to move, you got to land combinations, and never let him plant his feet. If you don't allow Castano to plant his feet, to rip shots at you, he's going to get tired because he's not comfortable. Simple as that. So that's how you do it. If you're Charlo. Now, the reason why I mentioned Demon Kennedy, I appreciate you, bro. Thank you. The only reason why I said that there's a possibility that Charlo wins by late stoppage is, look, man, if I had to pick who hits harder, I gotta say Charlo. Right? I gotta say Charlo. He's proven it. He hurt Castano in the first fight. And although Castano is tougher than nails, I just feel like there's a higher chance that Castano will get hit with something more flush, more clean, and with something that he doesn't see that could potentially hurt him and drop him. And another thing that you guys have to consider here is that if Charlo finds a rhythm and he starts connecting flush shots in the middle part of the fight, there is a high possibility that there will be a nasty cut in this fight. Or Castano could get cut, hurt, referee can step in, corner step in, something like that, right? So those are all those possibilities. So if you're just joining, if you're going to put your money on Castano, you got to put your money on a decision. I do not see Castano stopping Charlo tonight. I just don't see it happening. I will be absolutely flabbergasted and gobsmacked if he stops Charlo. I just don't see it. But there is a pretty decent chance that he could outwork Charlo better than he did the first fight. For Castano, it's all about fine tune about 3 rounds where he lost or that he could have lost, fix those mistakes. You can win the rematch by, 2 or 3 rounds and make it comfortable to where there's no dispute and you're the new undisputed light middleweight champion of the world. If I'm Castano, that's my plan. If you go in there and load up with shots like Canelo did against Bivol and try to knock Charlo out, you're gonna set yourself up for failure. You're gonna burn yourself out going into those championship rounds. And if Charlo's not hurt, he's gonna lay into you. He's gonna rip you to pieces. And that will set you up for a late stoppage. Right? So we're gonna see who has the better game plan, because in a rematch, it's all about game plan, right? You can't allow the competitive juices to overflow into a rematch where you're upset. It's like Mike Tyson when he rematched Holyfield, right? It got into his head too much. He lost focus. He lost his game plan, and he started acting a fool, right? It happens in rematches all the time. I mean, look at Fury and Wilder too, right? Fury Wilder 3 for that matter, right? A lot of emotions at play. As much as we love Wilder, and I love Wilder, he's one of my favorite heavyweights of all time. I was rooting for him. But he stepped away from the game plan because he's so fixated on trying to knock out Tyson Fury. Just like Mike Tyson was so fixated on trying to knock out Holyfield in the rematch. These are things that happen in these types of fights all the time. Now, if you're Charlo, man, you got to stay relaxed. You got to stick to your game plan. It doesn't matter what Castano does. You got to remain focused and weather the storm, right? If Castano comes out guns blazing, trying to hit you with power shots, all you got to do is weather it, right? Short uppercuts on the inside, tie him up, turn him, let him go. Jab, 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 boom, right hand, spin out, right? Jab to the body, and he's going to track you. He's going to be tracking. Let him do his thing. If he gets too close, cover up, short, quick shots to the body, tie up. Let the referee work tonight. Force the referee to work tonight until the referee says, enough of this bullshit, and starts to be, demand some type of authority. If you're Charlo, that's what you got to do. You got to be strategic. Then round 7, 8, 9, you can start planting your feet and start throwing those 3, 4, 5 punch combinations. That's exactly what Bivol did to Canelo. Right? The difference is that I do believe that Charlo, if he sees Brian Castano hurt, he's going to try and finish him. This isn't Bivol where Bivol hurt Canelo or buzzed him, started landing combinations, and then backed off, right? I don't think Charlo's going to do that. If he sees Brian up against the ropes, struggling to defend himself, Charlo's going to keep punching, and he's going to try to hurt him and try to finish him. That will be the difference. Nitty G in the building. Big Dog Willie, what's good, man? Gnarly Ray, what's good, man? Yeah. So those are just some food for thoughts, guys, for you guys to think about as we get ready and prepared to witness this fight. Regardless if you're going for Charlo or Castano, we got to be excited that once again we have another undisputed champion on the horizon. And I'm extremely excited to see Boots Ennis as well. Uh, he needs a shocking performance on this undercard, and I believe he's a co-main event. If I'm not, somebody correct me, but I do believe he is a co-main event. He needs a phenomenal performance on this very. This is the best card to do it on because if you make that type of noise, it's going to make it so much easier for you to demand the winner of the main event, which is Charlo Castano. I want those belts, right? And I appreciated the commentator at the final press conference asked Boots, like, do you think that you're ready? If you win this fight on this card Saturday night, do you think you deserve a chance for those belts? And he's like, yeah. So a lot of people would argue that it's too early. But what I'm saying is that he's been making noise and he's been putting the division on notice. And if he wins, especially if he wins in phenomenal fashion, hey, 154-pound division just got a little bit sweeter, right? We're gonna have an undisputed champion regardless, as long as there's no draw again, which will be blasphemous. But I don't think we will. We're gonna have a clear winner this time. And Boots will be knocking on the door, and then whoever that undisputed champion is, they should be defending that title against Boots, right? But let's not get it twisted though. The guy that Boots is about to fight is no pushover. It's going to be a stiff challenge. But that's a good thing. That's what you want if you're Boots, right? Because you don't want people saying you ain't fighting nobody, you ain't fighting no undefeated fighters, or you're not fighting ex champions. You're just fighting these dudes who are not any like high caliber or whatever the case is. And now you can hang your hat on something, right? Now you got leverage against a very good quality fighter that he's got to face off against. So um, I'm very excited about these two fights. And let's see, Top Dog says Boots fights at 147. They offered him Charlo. Um, they asked him. Yeah, they asked him. Snacks B, what's good, bro? Boots beating Thurman will leave no doubt that he's ready for 147. That's true too. Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure if they. I could be wrong, but I feel like they asked him if he was ready to take the challenge of this winter coming up at 154. And I know that there's been a lot of talk that he would be at 154 soon as well, but they may have been referring to 147. But I don't know. The problem is, man, is at 147 there's just man, it's so murky, right? Because it's like all the attention is on Bud and Spence, right? All the attention's on Bud and Spence. So if you're anybody other than Bud and Spence, it's hard to get any type of recognition because that's the whole focus. And I don't know if you want to continue to campaign at 147 or get a good victory and just say, you know what, I'm just going to go around this mess. And if there's an opportunity waiting for me at 154, I might as well take it. Right? That's a possibility because we don't know when Crawford and Spence is going to fight. Um, and yeah, you got Thurman there. Thurman's coming off a victory, so I'm sure he's going to try to stay active. I'm okay with that fight. I'm okay with it. Um, but don't be surprised if Boots wants a title ASAP. And if there's a lane opened up at 154, he might take it. He might take it. I've seen fighters do this type of movement many, many times. Top Dog says, I think Charlo's gonna get robbed. Well, why do you think that, bro? Why do you think that? All right, guys. Well, anyways, I wanted to break it down for you guys a little bit, the styles and what to look out for, especially if you're going to, bet on the fight and put money on it. I try to give you guys some food for thought to think about before you make that decision. Betting on boxing is not an easy thing to do, right? Anything can happen. Um, but nonetheless, I want to give you guys my official prediction. And just one last quick note on Ennis, real quick, guys. Don't forget that Boots Ennis is 5'10" with the 74-inch reach. It's not out of this world to assume or to think of a possibility that he may indeed go to 154. If the waters are just too murky at 147 and he feels like he will waste years trying to get a proper title shot. I mean, even if he does fight Keith, right, and beats him, who's going to give him a title shot? By that time, we still may not see Spence and Crawford, right? So just food for thought, man. Boots, like frame wise, ability wise, could definitely fight at 154. But I may have misunderstood the question that was asked at the final press conference. They may have been referring to 147, but they definitely asked him if he thinks that his next fight should be a title shot. So yeah. But look, let me get into Chavo TV. What's good? Good to see you in here, bro. So let's get into the prediction, guys. I gave you guys my food for thoughts. Things to look out for in the fight. But prediction time, man. This is where you put the writing on the wall, and you got to stick to it. Of course, I'm going to be on here live commentating the fight. So when I commentate it, right, I'm a little bit. I cringe a little bit, right? I grip my teeth, and I'm like, man, shit. Hope my prediction holds up. But I always score the fight unbiased, man. I call it how I see it. That's why I go live, because there's a lot of people out here that they say they quote unquote, score the fight, but they are here bullshitting, a lot of them, man. But that's why I go live, because then it's accountability. You guys know exactly what my scorecards are as I break down every single round. So I hope my prediction stands up, man. But look, I'm going to go. Let me think about it one more time. I'm going to go Charlo by decision this time. A clear decision. I think he's going to look better and just do better overall. I feel like he's going to fix the mistakes that he made in the first fight. He's not going to allow Castano to put too many rounds in the bank early. And if Castano wants to come aggressive, he's going to counter him. He's going to tie him up. He's going to just outmaneuver him and land flush shots, get out of the way from Castano shots, and just be just sharper, cleaner, and better. If Castano somehow surprises everyone and doesn't come forward and try to do his normal way of fighting, I don't think it really matters, because then then Charlo can slowly step to him and rip shots at him. And to be honest with you, if you're Castano, that's not the way. If you want to try and get a clear decision this time, because that's what your game plan should be. If the knockout comes, it comes. But ultimately, you just got to outwork Jermall. You got to be on the front foot. You don't want to end up on the back foot. That's not the place for you against Jermall. You want to step forward. You want to step to him, try to stay in his chest, make him uncomfortable, and see if you can wear him down and put the rounds in the bank, right? So I would lean on 80 to 90% that Castano is going to be heavy front-footed in this fight and press the action, and do what he did the first fight, more or less. Maybe a few things here and there that he'll change. But I won't be surprised if Charlo gets a late stoppage, but an official prediction would be Charlo winning by decision, clear cut. There could even possibly be a knockdown in this fight. I think it's very possible that Charlo may knock him down, get a 10-8 round, which will help him secure that decision. I know some people in the chat talking about robbery and all this other stuff. It's boxing, man. It's boxing. Yeah, it's never out of the question. All I can say is I hope not, but never hold your breath. But leave your guys' predictions in the chat. Let me know who you got in this fight. And we will then just sit tight and see how it all unfolds. We got one person, we got Demon in here saying that Charlo is he says Charlo by 6 KO. Damn, okay. Mr. Punch Out, what's good, bro? Mr. Punch Out, what's your prediction? Fred, what's good? Mr. Punch Out says I got Charlo by a 5th round TKO. Y'all going early. Wow. Okay. Okay. Damn. Y'all going for those early predictions. I definitely feel like Charlo can hurt him. He did in the first fight. Either way, what I always say to people is that unless you're betting money, it doesn't matter. But if you pick Charlo, then you pick Charlo. It doesn't matter how he wins. I guess it just looks a little bit better. If you predict a 5-round TKO and that happens, then you are spot on. But if you say Charlo by a late stoppage or a decision and he ends up getting the TKO in the 5th or 6th or whatever the round may be, you still got your prediction right. So it doesn't matter, right? You got to choose and predict the right guy to win in this game. So I just got Charlo in this, man, and I've had to replay the first fight a few times, and I just feel like Charlo just got caught off guard. I don't know if he got too confident, too cocky, um, didn't realize that he was giving away rounds. Maybe it didn't click in his head. Maybe his corner didn't say, "Yo, wake the hell up. You're losing these rounds." When you're in a fight, if you've ever boxed before, you know how it feels, right? Your adrenaline's taking over, and time flies, man, when you're in the ring. Like when you're in good shape like these men are, you can be in the 7th round and not even realize it, right? Because you're used to putting in 20 rounds of sparring. Sometimes they spar for 5-minute rounds and shit, with big gloves on. And so you're used to putting in a lot of work. You're used to putting in a lot of sparring, a lot of punches, a lot of movement, and things like that, right? So it's possible that in a fight like that, where it's kind of going back and forth and it's kind of rough and tumble type fight and a little bit rugged, and they're kind of exchanging and they're doing their thing, you look up at the round and you're like, damn, we're in round 8. Shit. And it could have been a situation where he didn't realize that he gave away too many rounds. So that's a learning experience, right? That's a learning experience that you go into the rematch and not allow that to happen. Top Dog says, I like Charlo in a late stoppage, maybe 10, 11, or 12. Cool. Yeah, that would make more sense to me. If you're going to go for stoppage, that makes more sense to me. 10, 11, 12. 5 or 6 is, I got to raise an eyebrow to that. I'm like, okay, it's not impossible. But Charlo, in my mind, to get that early of a stoppage, he's got to do a complete 180. He's got to do a complete 180. He's got to say, when round 3 hits, I'm like, damn, Charlo, he ain't playing. Like, he's seriously already by round 3 starting to touch him up. And if I'm not saying those type of words and it's going down the same way that it did the first fight where it's back and forth, I'm going to say, nah, there's no way. There's no way he's going to get a 6-round KO or a TKO, in my opinion, if the fight starts the way it did the first fight. But we'll see. We'll see, man. I'll be here, like I said, commentating live, man, and make sure you guys don't miss it. Last time I went live, obviously, for the Bivol and Canelo, it exploded. It absolutely exploded. I think at one point we had, I want to say, 1,200 people in here at one time. 1,200 viewing the live at one time, and maybe even got up to 1,500. But when everything was said and done, I got over 100,000 views. 100,000 views for that fight, right? So we turn up in here, man. We turn up, and we call it how we see it. We got a little fight party going on in here. I give you guys my round by round breakdown. I give you guys my scorecards. I try to provide the best commentary that I possibly can, especially for those who can't watch the fight live or who just want an alternative voice other than the commentators that are commentating on the fight live there ringside. So I'll be here, man, and let's see how the predictions hold up. So I'll probably, once I finish this live, I'm going to set up the live stream for tonight for this fight, and I'm probably going to go live around. I'm guessing the main event will probably be around like 10:30, 11 p.m. Eastern. So around that time. Now I'm going to try to come on live to catch the co-main event to watch Boots as well. So I want to cover the Boots fight, and then I want to cover obviously the main event. So keep an eye out for the exact timing that I plan to be live tonight. It'll probably be anywhere from 9:30 to 10 p.m. Eastern in the States. And you can always, if you guys didn't know, you can always go to my page and then hit the reminder button. So when it gets close for me to go on live, you'll get a notification so you won't miss it. So that's another thing that you can do. So keep an eye out for that, man. But look, my official prediction, if you came in late, is I got Charlo winning this by a clear cut, unanimous decision, much more clear than the first time. I think he's just going to be too sharp, too quick, too motivated, too comfortable. And I actually think he'll probably end up dropping Castano in this fight. But I do see Castano getting up, and I do see Castano finishing the fight. So that is my official prediction. I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. If you came in late, you can rewind it. I gave my reaction to the weigh-in. And to just recap that real quickly, Castano to me looks fresh. He came in a little bit lighter than Castano, about a pound lighter. To me, that's a good thing. That means he's comfortable in the weight. He's going to rehydrate comfortably. His muscles look fresh. They look healthy. And for Castano, he made the weight, but it looks a little bit more dry. And I would predict that Castano will probably come in at about 163-ish. And I have Charlo coming in probably about 159, maybe 160. That will be my prediction as far as fight night weight. But I do think that Castano is going to come in bigger. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to win the fight, right? So you guys know how it goes, man. But look, man, I appreciate every single one of you guys who dropped in this morning. I know people are moving about, going to work, getting ready for their Saturday, got things to do with the family. I didn't want to make this a long live, try to keep it under an hour, and looks like we're going to do that. Jeffrey, was good, man. Always good to see you in here. I don't always see you in here, but when I do, it's a pleasure. Andrew Gray was good. So find me on here tonight, guys, live. Jermall Charlo versus Brian Castano for undisputed at light middleweight, 154. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, man. Y'all stay up, stay strong out there. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Get prepared for fight night. We are being blessed by the boxing gods recently, man. The past couple of months, back-to-back weekends, we're getting fights, big fights, meaningful fights, championship fights, undisputed fights. So enjoy this wave while it lasts, because this is not something that we see very often. There are times normally where there's like a 4 or 5 month period where there are literally no fights. So enjoy this, man. And I hope to have you all here tonight for the main event and the co-main event. I'm going to cover Boots as well. So, all right, guys, once again, stay strong, stay positive out there, man. Take care of your family. Spend time, get ready for tonight. Get your barbecue ready, get your snacks ready, stock the fridge. It's going to be a good night of boxing, man. Y'all stay up. Peace.